I would like to speak with you today a little bit about the gift of service, of taking care of our neighbor in need. I went recently with students from Marymount University to Louisa, Kentucky for our alternative spring break program. And we stayed at the Father Biting Appalachian Missionary Center in Louisa, Kentucky. And while a lot of students will maybe go home for some good home cooking over spring break, or maybe go down to warmer weather and soak in some sun and some suds, we went down to Kentucky to give a little bit of our time to serve those in need. Now, our main task there that week was to go and to work on the floor, to replace the floor in the kitchen and the kitchen oven, to replace the floor in the bathroom and the toilet in the mobile home of Henrietta. And we attacked those tasks with lots of energy, enthusiasm, and laughter, and not very much skill. But it was clear at the end of the week that God actually had done the heavy lifting. So at the end of the week, I asked the students if they would share with me where it was that they felt like they saw God this week. Where did they see the face of Christ while we were in Kentucky? And they came up with some great answers rather quickly. They were quick to offer these answers. And there was a lot of agreement on them. And so the first thing that the students said was it really felt like we learned more about what's most important in life. We didn't have access to the internet, and our phones weren't working most of the time. And so, we really spent a lot of time dealing with one another, dealing with the people that we were serving. Spent a lot of time in prayer, spent a lot of time with God, and I think the students really felt like they focused on what was most important in life that week. A second thing that was tossed out by the students was a holy hour that we had in the church for adoration with people from the local parish. And the students just really appreciated the chance to slow down and to be quiet and to gain some perspective and to be in the presence of our Lord, who comes to us in such a beautiful and humble way in the Eucharist. A third thing that they tossed out quickly was that they were very inspired by the example of everybody who worked at this center, but three people in particular. Cindy and Dominic had been volunteers there for a number of years, coming down from a parish in New Jersey. But the Lord set on their heart at some point, a couple of years ago, a call to sell their house in New Jersey and to move down to Louisa, Kentucky and buy a little kind of one-bedroom cabin and dedicate their lives to the service of their neighbor in need in Louisa, Kentucky. It was very inspiring to see the witness of their lives. We were also very inspired by Sister Pat. She's in the local parish, but she is just a whirlwind of energy. She's actually a doctor, but she does so much for that parish and so much for the poor in that area. The witness of her life really touched all of us as well. We all felt that we saw our Lord in the face of Henrietta. We all just fell in love with her. I mean, she has emphysema, and she's unable to physically take care of much of the stuff around the house that most people need to take care of. And she was so thrilled that we came and spent our week working on her house and spending time with her. And she shared so much of her story with us, and we really came to love Henrietta and to see Christ in her that week. Another way in which we encountered the Lord was in two of Henrietta's friends. They came and helped us out some with some of the carpentry work that we were doing. But what was really pretty amazing was that they stayed up until about 1 o'clock at night, 2 nights that week, to finish the floor after we got it started in the kitchen one night and then in the bathroom the next night. And then they got inspired to be cleaning up and kind of clearing some of the clutter out of the house and the porch and the kitchen and the dining room. And by the end of the week, the house really was transformed. And they were joyful in participating in this great project. Another way in which we saw the face of Christ this week was in the fellowship that was created among the students who went. We spend a lot of time talking about our faith and a lot of time talking about what was important to us and a lot of time talking about the Scriptures and how the Scriptures shed light on what we were doing and gave meaning to what we were doing and called us to do what we were doing. And we spent a lot of time sharing our own stories too. And there was a beautiful fellowship that developed where we felt that Christ was at the center of it all. Finally, I want to share that the students jumped in quickly and said that they felt like this was one of the best weeks of their lives. And I have to admit, I find it a little bit ironic because it was a very sacrificial week in a lot of ways. Again, we didn't have internet access and we had no use of our computers and our phones. And we were up early and we were working hard all day and doing our evening program together in the evenings and participating in some things with the parish. And we had very little time to ourselves. And yet these students felt like it was one of the best weeks of their lives. And that's because service is a gift. It's a gift of God. It's a gift from Christ. It's a gift from those who serve. And so we went down there to give of our time and our energy, but we received so much more. We went down there to bring Jesus to others, and they brought Jesus to us. And this is because the truth of life and of our faith is that it is in giving that we receive, it's in loving that we are loved, it's in doing for others that we discover the meaning of life. And so we thank God for the gift of service, the gift of being there for our neighbor in need. Take care and God bless you.